around the ACC as a head coach?
Yeah, I mean, very competitive league, a lot of really good coaches and players, good quarterbacks last year. Having to prepare each and every week for the teams was difficult because everybody's a little bit different, right? You go from one team that's truly a spread team to another team that's pretty versatile, doing all kinds of different things. So it was a difficult league to get ready for week in and week out, no doubt.
You were a college coach before the days of revenue sharing and NIL and collectives. Then you came back last year, and it's been this 2-year march into more professionalism.
Right.
I'm curious, does it feel more like NFL maybe than what you experienced the first time? I mean, it's always been a big deal, college football, but now it's almost more pro model in that regard.
It is, obviously with these guys being compensated now, I think it is, but it's still a lot different, right? Like in the NFL, there's a collective bargaining agreement, there's an enforcement body, there's only 32 teams. Everybody knows what each other makes. There's no secrets. There's a legal tampering period before free agency. There's all kinds of different. There's a draft. It's just completely different. But to your point, there are certain things that you can model, relative to let's just call it the salary cap of your team, how you want to value each position and how you want to value. And the other thing that's very different, just speaking from Boston College, is in the NFL, the value is how the guy plays, like the talent of the guy, his production and all that. In college, at Boston College, obviously good player, but good student, shows up on time, good teammate, participates in the community. So there's a lot more. It's just a little bit. There's a lot of differences, but there are certain things you can model and say, if that makes sense.
What are the main ways, let's say, your NFL experience helps you in college? I mean, there's obviously your coaching experience, but it is a different version of it. I'm curious how that carries over into college beyond those things.
I think the main way that it helps me is my ability and my conversations with the players, because I've had these financial conversations over the years with different guys at the Houston Texans. So, I embrace it. I think it's great that these guys can make money. I'm not fighting it at all, but at the same time, here's what it is, and here's why it is. I'm not uncomfortable in those conversations. I think my experience in pro football has helped me a lot with those types of conversations, if that makes sense.
You hear the phrase NFL life all the time with how college football is moving, and then you can't help but wonder, walking around here, there are NFL players. Yeah. I know there are NFL assistant coaches all up and down the conference. Yeah. But is that a way to go in some ways with the ACC, where you've already got the NIL piece of it, but the competitive piece as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm very focused on Boston College. I'm not as focused on the ACC, but just with the question before, it's a very competitive league. Now you got Frank in the league, you got Bill in the league. I went up against Frank in the AFC South for years, back and forth, played him in the playoffs, played him 3 times with him. He's a hell of a football coach. Obviously, Bill, I worked for Bill. Great coaches, and then you've got Ron Rivera and Cal, so you have NFL throughout the league. So I think that says a lot about the league. And to your question, maybe that, as you look to the future of college football, maybe there will be more NFL guys that come to college, because there are some similarities in some ways. Maybe you'll see that. I don't know the answer to that, but I kind of know what you're asking.
When the transfer portal opens, every program wants to be ready, have guys scouted and things like that. I'm curious how you go about trying to be prepared when every kid is a free agent, essentially, to scout almost the entire country. It seems like an impossible task to have everybody scouted in case they go into the transfer portal. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, great question. So there's a couple things to that question. Number one is we're into retaining players. We don't want to ship 40 guys out. Right? That's not Boston College. We've done a decent job of that. I'm not saying we've retained 100% of our players. You guys know the stats on that. But we've retained the majority of our best players over 2 years, basically. And I think that has a lot to do with the connection with the players, the Boston College degree. They don't want to leave BC. They love being in the city of Boston. There's a lot of things that go into that. When it comes to being ready, because we've added guys out of the portal. We've added guys from Michigan, from Wake Forest, from a couple Division II schools. We've added some guys, and so we have a really good, our recruiting setup is set up. We have a high school recruiting section and then a college football recruiting section. So when the portal opens, a lot of these guys, they're watching 30, 40 clips of this guy. Hey, coach, you might want to check this guy out at a position of need where maybe we got hit in recruiting. We didn't get any, we didn't get enough there. We've got to go get this, let's just say this defensive end that's in the portal, or this offensive tackle in the portal, or this quarterback in the portal. So I think we've done a decent job of that, but we're always looking to improve on that. So I hope that answers your question.
What's your central quarterback picture competition heading into the year?
Yeah, so look, we have 3 quarterbacks that we feel great about, and 2 of them. Grayson James is back from last year. He finished last year for us. Did a really good job. Solid guy, really smart, great teammate. Got good leadership qualities. Done a really good job in the offseason. Then we have Dylan Lonergan, who's a transfer from Alabama. I recruited to Alabama. Very smart guys in the Carroll School of Management. Had a good offseason. One of those 2 guys will be the starters. We'll make that announcement at some point in the training camp. And then we have a 3rd guy, Shaker Rizik, who's a freshman out of Oklahoma, who we really like. We think he's got a great future. So we're excited about the quarterback.
Similar type of quarterbacks, I guess, or different styles?
There's some similarities. They're all athletic. They all have an ability to run. They all, are accurate. They can anticipate. They're smart. One guy's a little bit bigger than another guy. There's some differences, but there's a lot of similarities.
You could just kind of clear up what, in your particular offense, the scheme you run, the style you run offense, what you really want your quarterbacks to do and what you ask them. Like, what is your best articulation of that?
Yeah, our quarterbacks have to be very, very smart. They have to have a brain that works very quickly so that they can get us into the right play. When the ball's snapped, they can make good decisions relative, whether it's a run or a pass. They can make good decisions with the ball. They have to be athletic. They can't be statues. They have to be able to move because of the things that we do offensively. They have to be accurate passers. They don't have to have rocket arms, but they've got to have accuracy and they've got to have anticipation. The best guys I ever coached had great anticipation. They didn't wait for the in cut to come open. They knew that in cut was coming open because they had great defensive knowledge, which is another thing. Our quarterbacks have to have really, really good